Hi, this is Lisa Espinoza. I am the co-owner of Team Icon. You are listening to the College Dropout Podcast.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me today on the College Dropout Podcast. I am your host, Sierra, and you are now listening to the College Dropout Podcast, where we inspire, we empower, and we mentor individuals who decide to take the unconventional path in life, and that involves dropping out of college or skipping college altogether. Guys, welcome back to the show. If I could sing, I would have sung the welcome back, that theme song, but I can't sing worth a lick. But welcome back to the show, guys. I know you're probably thinking, like, the last time she said she wasn't going to miss any more episodes. And that did not happen. I'm not even going to talk about, I don't even want to make any more excuses. But what I will do is this. I'm going to challenge you guys, my audience. Help me keep myself accountable. I need to do a better job of time management these days. And that's all I'm going to say. But we are back today with a wonderful, wonderful interview. Guys, I introduced something new to you a couple of weeks ago. So let's go ahead and jump into that. It's the iTunes review of the week. But before we jump into the iTunes review of the week, I just want to talk about my weekend a little bit. My weekend was awesome. I actually talked to a couple of guests who've been on the show previously, catching up with them. So guys, it's really not a shameless plug. I'm being honest. If you haven't listened to the interview with Nehemiah Davis, the interview with Shark Glover, which was the very first episode, go back and listen to those. And also, if you have not had the opportunity to listen to the interview I did with Mr. Jaleel C. Coleman, the co-owner of Magic Moment Media out of Philadelphia, please do so. I got so much feedback from his interview. It was amazing. People were, couldn't believe that he's 22 now, but at the time he was only 21 when we recorded the interview. So if you could do yourself a favor, if you're feeling stagnant, we're ending the second quarter, which is the half of the year, is about to be over this weekend. If you're feeling stagnant, go listen to Jaleel's interview, Nehemiah's interview, as well as Shark Glover. Just do it. Trust me. You will get pumped up. You will feel like you can still reach your goals. You will feel like you can still do whatever it is you set out to do this year. And, for the rest of your life. I still go back and listen to Shar's interview, because it was amazing. Although I was terrible at the time as an interviewer, the interview itself was amazing. The amount of information she gave was just phenomenal. So Shar, if you're listening, thank you once again for being a guest. I have to catch up with you next time you're in Detroit. We still haven't met in person yet. So yeah. Just wanted to do that little weekend recap for you guys, as well as give you some information on some great content that I've put out previously. But let's go ahead and jump into iTunes review of the week. And today's iTunes review of the week is from Drea Harvey. Hi, Attorney Harvey. I actually know Drea, but that's not why I chose it. But Drea Harvey says, I love the concept. Sierra has done a great job of showing how you can have a life if you do not go to college or if you go to college and drop out. There's such a wealth of information for an entrepreneur of any shape, form, or fashion. This is the place to be to find information as an entrepreneur. Thank you, Drea. I really appreciate this review and the 5-star rating. Honestly, I really appreciate it from you because you're a college grad, you're an attorney, and, to hear that from someone who has a high level degree is really, really appreciated. Guys, as you know, recently I've kind of switched the focus of the show a little bit. When I first started, this show was all about people who wanted to become entrepreneurs who didn't have a college degree. Now we're focusing on just finding success along the unconventional path of not having a college degree. You don't have to want to be an entrepreneur, but you want to find success. You want to become the best version of yourself. This is the show for you. So thank you so much once again, Drea. I really, really appreciate it. One more quick announcement before I introduce today's guest. We have a few dad hats left in stock, and I want to give you guys the opportunity to order them. So what I'm going to do, if you text me, and yes, I said text, not email. I'm switching this as well. If you text me at 586 586-945-0890 and order your dad hat today. If you text me at 586-945-0890 and order your dad hat sometime this week, I will give you free shipping. So 586-945-0890. Yes, that's my personal phone number. Text me saying, I want a dad hat. Don't say who you are. Just say, I want a dad hat. And then I'll ask who you are. And we will get you free shipping on your dad hat. It will go out this week. You'll have it in 2 to 3 days, probably sooner than that, depending on where you live. I'm really trying to get rid of the rest of these hats. So guys, 586-945-0890 to own a piece of history and get your limited edition College Dropout Podcast dad hat. Once these are gone, I will not be making any more. So let's go ahead and get into today's episode. So guys, today I have Lisa Espinoza, who's an entrepreneur, personal trainer, competitive prep coach, athletic coach, and the co-owner of Team Icon, where she helps train professional bodybuilders. Guys, Lisa's story is so amazing. And Lisa not only dropped out of college, but she also dropped out of high school. So there's something that we all could learn from her. So guys, do me a favor, grab your pens, grab your pads, and listen to Lisa Espinoza as she talks about trusting her gut instinct on her path to success. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining the College Dropout Podcast. Today, I have Miss Lisa Espinoza here with me. How are you today, Lisa?
Hey, I'm great.
I'm great as well. I'm so glad we finally got a chance to get a chance to talk. I know we talked about you being on before, and then I forgot, and then I remembered again. So today is the day. I'm so excited to hear about your journey.
It's my honor. I love it.
Yeah, I can't wait till you let me as well as everybody else know your journey. I've seen the growth in your business over the last year, so I'm excited to know how you started, how you got there. So if you can just start off by telling us, like, how did you come to the decision to either drop out of college or skip college?
Well, actually, it kind of starts before that. I actually was a high school dropout.
Oh, wow.
So two. So kind of dropped out in my senior year, and I was terrible at school, just never applied myself. So I kind of decided I wanted to take a different route, and I dropped out of high school. And not the smartest thing to do, not something I'd recommend to people, but it worked out. And I went back after some years and got my GED. Well, when I got my GED, I scored so high on my GED testing that I was offered a full ride scholarship at our local community college. When I started that, I did so well there for my first year that I then got an offer to a large university. I'm from St. Louis, so I was offered a full ride scholarship to a larger university out in St. Louis. And not only that, but they also offered me a spot in their honors college program. So It was kind of a selective program, and I still felt like they had made a mistake. I was like, did they understand how bad my grades have been? Like in high school, like, did they understand? Like, I felt like it was just this mistake, but I went and I did really well, and I loved it. And it was a very kind of like more like we had a very small classroom setting compared to most colleges. Mm-hmm. So it was a little bit more of an intimate setting, but long story short, school just, no matter what path I was on, it just seemed like school was not going to bring that to fruition for me. It was not going to get me the experiences that I would gain. And, life just kind of gets in the way sometimes, and you're like, okay, I'm going to have to drop these classes because I've got to take care of this. And I really feel like, looking back on it now, obviously it was God's path for me, but so things kept kind of coming up, and I decided, okay, I'm going to just focus on my career at the moment, and I'm going to go ahead and stop college. I was in I was in nursing school program and studying. I was studying to become a dietitian. So I was working towards all of that and kind of really close to the end of it. Just had my clinicals left pretty much, but it's funny because in the path I ended up on was fitness. Mm-hmm. And so it definitely, all of the things that I learned there have helped me become a better personal trainer. And especially in the nutrition side of it, it has really helped me have an edge that I wouldn't have had I not gone through the schooling that I went through. So that's kind of a backstory about how that came to be.
Wow. So I have a question regarding how you went from, dropping out of high school to earning scholarships. Like, was there a shift in your mentality? Was it just a different amount of effort?
Oh, definitely.
So
What was
there
was a huge shift in my mentality. I can remember, at the age of 22, a close friend of mine died, and we had kind of grown up together as little kids. Like, so all the way, we were the exact same age. Our birthdays were like 4 days apart. So it honestly, to me, was almost like that could have been you. And it was this real harsh wake up call, because I think at the age of 22, you're kind of like, well, we don't die,
Right.
We're only 22, like we've got forever. We're not like old people, we got a long time. So I think in my head, I just kept thinking I've got time to fix it, or like life's going to work itself out. And I wasn't aggressive about changing it. So when that happened, it kind of woke me up like, is this a legacy you're going to leave, that you just quit things?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a definite shift in my mentality, which was that I had to build a legacy that I was proud to leave behind.
Wow. Now, do you feel like that aggression has, allowed you to become as successful as you are now? Because I heard you say that you wasn't aggressive about changing your mind or changing your circumstance. Do you feel like that aggression has definitely helped you thus far?
Oh, definitely. And it's even caused, quite a shift in my personality. So before I would have been very laid back and very relaxed. And now I think people would probably talk about me as being much more aggressive. So, if I want something, I go after it, and I don't hold back from it anymore. I don't wait on things. I don't wait for it to happen, because I always see that this, I try to live with that mentality of there's no guarantee. So if I want something, I have to go after it. I can't wait for it to come to me.
That's powerful right there. And I often tell people, when people like us decide to stop going to school, or people who just don't want to go to school, that being aggressive is actually, I feel like, one of the tools you have to have. Like, what are some tips you can give someone who may be a little bit passive? Because to be honest, like I was that way. I think I just maybe got aggressive probably about 6 months ago. And it was because I never wanted to come off, the wrong way for an opportunity or to other people. So what are some tips to give someone on how to become aggressive and go after what you want?
Yeah, I think first you really have to be comfortable with who you are. So not being apologetic for who you are and how you are and knowing what you want that's a huge that's a huge part of it, but it's also a huge part of personal freedom. So understanding that this is who I am and I'm not apologetic for it, and I go after what I want, it's your life. And no one else is going to do that for you. No one else is going to help you get what you want to get. So it's your responsibility and not anybody else's to make those things happen or to get where you want to get. And you have to be unapologetic about it. Now, of course, you don't go and like hurt everybody in your path and take advantage of people, but there's a fine line there that you have to walk with. I'm not apologetic because I go after what I want. There's an assertiveness about it. And when you live life to that point, not only do you get what you want to get, but you also live with a level of personal freedom and peace that a lot of people can't understand, because they're worried about opinions and they're worried about, someone thought this about them and someone thinks that they're crazy for doing that. So it's a different level of living.
Wow, those were some great tips. And yeah, I definitely can tell that it's a different level of living. So you went to school a little bit for the dietitian program, and now you're a fitness trainer. Let's talk about your business a bit. How did that come about? How did you end up being the trainer that you are today?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of what year that was. About 2010, I started having a lot of health issues, and I'm like, I'm way too young for this. So I decided that I needed to get healthy. I had kind of always been an active, fit person, but I had really let it go just from life, and, it wasn't a priority. And so I decided I was going to take control of my health, and I was going to live a healthy life. I've seen my dad be sick, chronically sick, for about 20 years now, and I just thought, I'm not if I allow this to happen, I'm going to live the same kind of life he did. A lot of it is genetic. And so I just decided I was going to take control over it. And I got into weightlifting and just, again, eating right and being healthy and fit. And I decided that it fit into that niche of things that I really loved doing. At the time, I was managing an office. And so there's always been a part of me that has loved business, but then there's always been this part of me that's loved, nutrition and just health. And so it was kind of like combining my two favorite things together. And so I started doing that, and I decided I wanted to become a personal trainer. So I went and got my certification for personal training and a certification for a fitness nutrition specialist. And then I just decided to start a business and it started with people just saying, hey, can you help me? You look really great. I like what you've done. Can you help me? What did you do? And so I realized that people wanted to hear what I was doing. And it allowed me to kind of, work slowly into helping people. And then I was like, okay, this could be a business. And so I started that, and also in the meantime, kind of fell in love with the sport of bodybuilding and started a competitive bodybuilding team. And it's just blown up. And a lot of that I credit to Breathe University and CJ in particular. But that has been the biggest tool in my tool belt. But I credit a lot of it to that, but it's definitely taken off.
Yeah. And I was going to say, you're not just any trainer, like you train bodybuilders, which I didn't even know that was a thing, if you will. I mean, I knew people were bodybuilders, but I was like, wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that, or they expect everybody that does it to look like, those massive monster-sized guys. Mm-hmm. I remember CJ being like, but you don't look like you lift a whole lot. Like, you don't look like a bodybuilder. And there's different divisions and categories of it. And so, yeah, it's and I love it because the people that commit to doing them are just so committed. It inspires me so much and motivates me. They're just like, they're all in 120%, like all the time. And I love that because it keeps me really motivated.
Wow. So you mentioned Breathe University being one of the tools in your tool belt. If you could go back to like the beginning of when you started like your bodybuilding business, like what were some of the ways you continue to learn and better yourself, like before Breathe University? And guys, if you don't know what Breathe University is, I'll explain that to you a little later. I'm pretty sure everybody listening is not a member, so I'll definitely explain that. But Lisa, what were some other ways that you continue to develop yourself personally before joining that group?
I can't say that there was a ton of growth in the time frame before Breathe U. Just simply, I applied the things that I knew about business before that. So just and a lot of it, God kind of blessed me with the gift of having a good gut instinct when it comes to business, and so I kind of rely on that a lot. But the majority of my growth really came after BU. And learning how to apply things, learning how to market really well, how to, do all the strategies with marketing and advertising and branding. Like, who knew that was such a big deal? Mm-hmm. So, I'd say that the majority of my growth came after that. But before that, it was more so just what I already knew about business and applying those principles.
Now, how important would you say it is to continue to learn and grow, especially when, you're like us, you don't have a college degree, you probably don't have like this super huge network that you can rely on. So like, how important is it to continue sharpening your skills and just being, committed to personal development?
Oh man, it's everything. I firmly believe that you don't need a degree to study a craft or to understand a craft, or even to be a master at a craft. You can teach yourself anything at any time. Take aside, maybe being a doctor, right? Like I wouldn't recommend teaching yourself how to perform surgery. But on the flip side of that, there is really nothing that you couldn't fully understand even maybe better than you would learn in a brick and mortar setting. So with motivation, with passion, you study something and you can become an absolute master at a specific craft. And I believe in order to be successful, you have to have an open mind to constantly grow. If you are not willing to grow, then you're going to stay stagnant. Like your business is going to stay stagnant too. There's things always evolving. So in my business, there's always something evolving into new prep methods or new dieting methods or new exercise methods. I mean, CrossFit didn't exist, maybe it did, but it didn't exist 10 years ago, so you have to be willing to evolve with everything as it's changing. Otherwise, you're going to get left behind.
And that's so true. I hate to say it, but I used to be one of those people where every time I saw like a new trend or something in a particular industry, I would shy away from it because I always felt like, there's something new to learn. I don't want to learn that. I just want to keep doing it this way. And to be honest, like I'm actually excited about new things now. If I can ask you though, like how do you determine what to try, and then how long to try it for, and then how do you measure it to see if it even works? That's one thing that I personally struggle with.
Yeah, and me too. And I think for me, when I see a new trend or I see, for instance, especially like new marketing trends and in our BU groups or in any coaches that I've worked with, they'll say, oh, well, I do this and do this and this, and that works great for me. But if it does not feel organic to me, then I won't do it. So if that's not something, so I'm willing to grow and evolve, but at the same time, I'm not willing to shy away from what's organic to me. I'm not going to, for instance, don't, a lot of coaches now, especially online coaches, will use click funnel systems and, click this and then I get your email and then, blah, blah, and now I've trapped you into this. So I'm not like that because to me, organically, that doesn't set well with my personality. I say, this is what I'm doing and this is, what I'm getting out of it. And I feel like just showing people what I'm doing and setting that example, then if somebody is interested, they will come to me and it works, but I won't shy away from what is my normal personality or what sets right with me or what doesn't set right with me. And so far that works really well. But again, it is evolving with what the business is changing into. So I will research things. I will try to understand, do I like this? Do I want to attempt it? And so as far as seeing whether or not it does work, I'll kind of watch it for a little bit. I might try something, see how people respond to it, see how what people's thoughts are about it. I might even try it out with a few of my close clients that I'm pretty close to, and I'll say, hey, let's try this for a little bit, and just get feedback. And, nothing is ever a failure. It's just a learning process.
Absolutely. And I did an interview with Lindsay Hahn a couple weeks ago, and she made a very great point about, trying new things. And she was, just said like, it's okay to try new things because the good thing is that if it doesn't work, you can always go back, which is very, very true. I've tried a couple different things with the podcast, and it's I thought when I tried them that it was going to be like, okay, I'm stuck with it, but when she told me that, I'm like, I can always go back. So now for me it's like actually kind of fun to try new different intros and things like that, because I'm in the process of evolving my podcast. It's almost like you get the feeling of when it's time to try to do something new or do something different from what you've been doing before. Do you ever get that feeling like with your clients who may peak faster than you expect? You're like, okay, I got to do something different to get you to the next level.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And especially during a competition prep for somebody, they may stall out their weight. We're asking bodies to get to some kind of really low body fat level that their bodies really don't want to get to. Our body is intended, its whole purpose is it's got to keep you alive. So it's like, oh no, I'm not going down to that level. Body fat wants to hold everything. So you have to understand the different processes, and you have to be ready to try something, even when it's really scary. Somebody may be 5 days out from a show, and they still have, a little bit that they need to lose or drop or tighten up. And I have to feed them instead. And everybody's like, your first response is starve them, work it off. Like, and instead I have to trust what I know about science, and I have to trust my gut instinct, which is, okay, I've got to feed them a lot and then it's going to come off. And so, yeah, your gut instinct is everything, in my opinion. Like, it's one of those things that, like, you've got to be in tune with yourself and know that you know what you're doing. And when you can trust your own talents and your own gifts, that's when you can be really in tune with your gut instinct and follow it. And I really feel like that's a huge key to success too.
So how do you get in tune with yourself? Like, how does Lisa, like, what does Lisa do to make sure that she stays in tune with herself? And what are some things that someone who may not be in tune with themselves should do?
Yeah. So I think, staying in tune with yourself is trusting your gift. And if you feel insecure about something, you have to figure out, one, you got to figure out why. Why is this my weakness? And why do I feel like, it's something I need to work on? And then two, working on it and building it up so you can build your confidence up. So, if it's the same thing as a lagging body part, if my shoulders aren't there, then I need to hit my shoulders a little harder to pull them up. So it's the same thing. I've got to fine tune my weak spots so I can have confidence in myself. And when I've got confidence in myself and my skills, then I can easier, in an easier way, I can trust my gut instinct, as opposed to if I felt like it was a weakness, I might question myself quite frequently and be like, oh, I kind of need someone else's opinion because I don't know if I can trust that. So it's fine tuning those weak spots and making them your strengths. And then going on to say, okay, I can trust myself. I can listen to my gut instinct because I know what I'm doing.
Wow, that's a great piece of advice. Great piece of advice. I can honestly say during the course of this podcast, sometimes I go back and listen to like my first three and I'm like, oh my God, that was terrible.
That's so terrible. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but
that's a good thing.
And I think another part of that is, I guess, just making sure you're doing something you enjoy so that you can, when you see or you feel those weaknesses, you're willing to go ahead and try to strengthen them. Because I've noticed with things I don't like doing, when I feel weak, I just don't do it anymore. And I go on to something else.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, definitely.
So Lisa, what would you say your gift is, though? You mentioned, making sure that you're confident with your gifts and your talents. What would you say your gift and talents are?
Yeah, isn't that, I think, kind of one of those things that we're always trying to find out for our entire lives, probably.
Every day.
I really feel like it's funny. My niche it seems to be somewhere in just helping women feel good about themselves in any form. A lot of my clients I'll end up kind of being friends with, and so it just seems like it always presents myself where they come to me because they're having some relationship troubles or they're feeling really bad about themselves, or, and we end up forming a bond to where I'm able to kind of mentor and help them a little bit to get to where they realize how powerful they are, how strong they are, how much they can do on their own, and get to a place of independence and feeling, confident again. So it's interesting to me because I feel like, I kind of target a certain client and I go after this and these are the people that I'm brought to, but it never fails that, God kind of presents to me a specific woman that he wants me to help at certain times. So I'm really fortunate to have that happen in the process. That seems to be where I keep getting called to is to helping women.
That's awesome. And wow, that's really awesome. And I never would have expected you to say, that
yes.
when you look at your business, but it does
right.
make sense. You are a very caring individual. And I see a lot of that through your social media and obviously with me interacting with you a few times in person. I have another question for you though. Could you give like my listeners like 3 actionable steps to take towards, whatever dream or goal they may have today?
Oh, 3 steps. One, to me, the most important is to say it out loud and write it down. So I am a huge believer in that you really speak into existence what's going to happen. And what you say is going to happen, that's where your mind goes, that's where your body flows, that's where the entire universe kind of lines up and gets behind that. And so I think that is probably the most powerful step you can take. 2, it's progress over perfection, like making something happen as opposed to waiting for the perfect time, waiting for the perfect moment, or being like, well, I'm not ready for it yet. You're never going to be ready.
Right.
So it's just taking the steps and making it happen. I say the third one is, again, like we talked about in the beginning, probably being aggressive and knowing that, sometimes you have to aggressively go after something in order to make it happen. You can't be passive about it. Because again, no one else is going to do it for you. So you have to be aggressive in those steps and making it happen.
I love all 3 of those, and I wrote them down myself. And could you let us know, like, what is one quote or affirmation that you turn to whenever you do get frustrated? Like, what's like that one thing you always remember?
The one. Well, it's definitely probably going to be something E.T. says.
Of course.
I feel like they quote him like on a daily basis, and people are like, yes, I know. E.T. says. He talked about this, and I think it's a meme that kind of goes around, but he talked about there's no talent here. This is all hard work and obsession and passion. And I think that's so super true. And I kind of cling to that quite often. Of course, my favorite is average skill, phenomenal will.
Right.
And whether or not that's necessarily a quote, but it's what I cling to, because I feel like the majority of people feel like they're very average and feel like they have an average skill. So the difference in what makes people succeed is that will. So I'd say that's probably my number one focus.
I love it. And I actually just read that book. I've listened to the audiobook like 3 times.
Yes.
And it's just like, oh yeah, you really can't get it done if you just push and you don't quit and you continue to master and study your craft. And last but not least, Lisa, if anybody wants to contact you, if I have a listener who may be a bodybuilder and wants to hire you as a coach, like, where can everybody contact you, follow you? Let's go ahead and promote yourself for a minute.
Oh, absolutely. So, we train bodybuilders and lifestyle clients, anybody just wanting to lose weight, anything. So you can go to www.team-icon.com. And you can find us on Instagram at TeamIcon1. And you can find me on Facebook, Lisa Espinoza, and I friend anybody pretty much. Or on Instagram, same thing. You can find me at Lisa Espinoza Fitness.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate you taking the time.
My
I learned a lot. I'm pretty sure the listeners did. And you have an awesome story. I know you're just going to continue to grow and take Team Icon to the next level.
Thanks, girl. I really appreciate it. It was my honor to do this.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was Lisa Espinoza, co-owner of Team Icon Fitness Training. Like I told you before when I introduced her, like, not only dropped out of college, but also dropped out of high school and has still find a way to be successful on this unconventional path. Guys, one thing I forgot to mention before I got out the interview with Lisa is that she talked about Breathe University, which is a community that we are both members of. If you want more information about this community, go to www.breatheuniversity.com. No, I do not get paid for saying that, but it's a community that I strongly believe in, a community that has pushed me to the next level and continues to push me to the next level and challenge me in all of the areas that I feel that I'm weak in, not only with like business type things, but personal things, character development. It's really a great community. www.breatheuniversity.com. Also, guys, if you are enjoying the podcast, like if you are really, really enjoying this podcast, can you do me one favor? Share this with one person, just one person. And there are multiple ways you can share it. You can share it if you have an iPhone via Apple Podcasts, just hit share. You can share it through SoundCloud if you have an Android. You can share it with YouTube. Go to my YouTube page, Sierra Say, CIERRASEAY, and just share the video with someone on YouTube. They can watch it directly from their phone. They don't have to subscribe to anything if they don't want to. Just share this piece of content with them. Also, do me a favor, guys. Visit the website, www.thecollegedropoutpodcast.com, for those interviews that I told you about that you should listen to. Look, we're in the halfway point of the year, and I know for some people you're not on, the path you want to be on in terms of reaching your goals. I have a couple goals myself that I've kind of lacked in, so I'm also giving myself a recharge. But go listen to those interviews. First interview was with Shark Lover. The next one that I recommend is with Nehemiah Davis, who talks about getting your mind right and getting focused on what it is you want to do. And then go listen to the latest interview, which was just 2 weeks ago, with Jaleel C. Coleman out of Philadelphia. Those are the 3 interviews I recommend you listening to if you need to get refocused, if you need to get back on the right track. Yes, the year's halfway over, but it's not over and it's not done yet. A lot can happen in 6 months. Trust me. Last but not least, so there were a couple things that we mentioned in the interview. Obviously, Lisa gave out her information. I told you guys about Breathe University, and I told you guys about a couple of episodes I want you to go check out. And then I also told you to go ahead and order yourself a dad hat this week. So there's something called show notes that I don't talk about a whole lot because I just think people are not going to read them. But I still have that survey up on the College Dropout Podcast Facebook fan page. You can go ahead and like that too. I'm sorry for all these shameless plugs at the end of the episode, but go ahead and like that. And then there's a survey that a lot of people did for me, and a lot of people asked me to start doing better show notes. So I'm going to start doing better show notes, and it's something that I know is important. I was just being lazy. I'm not even going to lie. So if you're listening on your iPhone, all you have to do is, while you're listening to the episode, or after you listen to the episode, or before you listen to the episode, all you have to do is so simple, but I have to tell you exactly how to do it. So you're listening to the episode, you see the episode artwork. There are 3 dots on the right-hand corner that look like bullet points. Click that. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's not right. 3 dots on the right-hand corner in the bottom, the very bottom. Not the one that looks like bullet points, the one that just looks like ... all in a row. Click on that. Then click on View Full Description. What'll happen is that you'll see detailed notes about the show. Probably not super detailed, but you'll see like these purple links, right? The purple words are links. When you click on that, it'll take you directly to whatever it says. So I'm going to have one there that says Breathe University. If you click on that, it'll take you directly to Breathe University's website. There's going to be one that says Shark Lover. That's going to take you directly to the Shark Lover interview. Same thing with Jaleel and Nehemiah. And then I'll also have some links there for Lisa's pages if you guys want to get in contact with her, if you're interested in her services, if you think you want to be a trainer and you just want some mentorship or something like that. So yes, that is all, guys. That is all. I know that was a mouthful at the end. These are some things I probably should have mentioned at the beginning, but next week they'll be at the beginning, so I'll remind you again. So guys, thank you so much, like always, for joining me this week on the College Dropout Podcast. I really need you guys to join me on Thursday as well, because I'm introducing something new again for the Thoughtful Thursday series. I told you guys I had to do better with my time management. I figured out how to do it while still giving you great content on Thursdays. So guys, like always, have a great day. Make it an even better week. Be impactful and be intentional. See you guys Thursday.